So this week is just going to be about just some JavaScript like event handlers, event listeners, and manipulating the DOM. So we'll start off with this one, since we're the COS stream, using Vanilla.js to manipulate forms with counters. Okay, cool. So there's a plus button if we look here, which is a button. And if we press it, we want it to increment by 1. And if we press the minus button, we want it to decrement. Okay, so already you can kind of see like, okay, if we click this button, that would be the event. And we want it to do something if we click it. Okay, so that like gives you a little bit of an idea of where you should start. The first thing is to initialize the counter to 0. Okay, and so the way we can do that is to just, oh yeah, up here I've gotten the counter, and I've just done that by the ID. So the ID of the counter is counter, and so now I've grabbed that element here. And so to initialize it, what you can do is you can do counter dot inner text equals 0. So now if we go live, okay, cool. So now we have a 0 here. But if we click our buttons, nothing's happening right now. So we need to add some more things. Okay. So what do we want to do? We want to create a click event listener for the button increment. And the way we do this is you get your button, which I've grabbed from this line here. And I'm going to add event listener. Then the syntax of this is just what you want your event to be. So in this case, click, right? If we click on the button, we want to do something. And what do we want it to do? We want it to run this function. So this is the syntax. This is like your template kind of for event listeners. You've always got your target, which in this case is the increment button. We add the event listener. We give it what event, and then the function. So this little bracket, arrow, curly bracket thing is just the function that we want to do if we click. Okay, so it says here, hint, use parseInt function before doing any calculations. So if we were to just like do a counter dot inner text equals, oops. Inner text. If we want to do this, it would try to do like a string. Like this wouldn't work, right? Because this is a string and this is a number. So what we want to do is get the number first using parseInt, which basically just converts a string to an integer of counter dot inner text, right? Which at the moment is 0. Okay. So now we've got our count. And there's a constraint as well, though. It says we want the numbers to be between 0 and 10 at all times. So what we can do here is, okay, so if this counter is already 10, let's do, if it's greater than or equal to, it shouldn't be greater than because it's not allowed, but just in case. If count is greater than or equal to 10, then it says down here, display an error using the alert function. Okay, so if we try to increment and it's already 10 or greater than, alert can't go above 10. Cool, okay. And then if it's not, so if it's anything else, then we can just increment 1 to it. So we could do counter.inner text, set the inner text to be what it was before, which is count plus 1. Okay, so let's see if this is working. Okay, we add 1, it's setting the inner text, cool. I'm clicking, I'm clicking, I'm clicking. Okay, click. Okay, cool. It does an alert, can't go above 10. So we've done our job with increment. Are there any questions about this before decrement? Because it's essentially the same thing, just minusing instead. Okay, cool. If there's no questions, what I'm going to do is, because it's going to be the same but minus, I'm just going to copy that code, but then change this. So now we're doing an event listener for decrement. So decrement. Okay. We still want the event to be click. Okay, we still want to get the count, but instead of this, it will just be the opposite. So if count is less than or equal to 0, then we can't go below 0. Otherwise, minus. So essentially, it's the same thing, just the other way. Okay, can't go below 0. If we go up, it works. If we go down, it works. This is a pretty simple example. So if there's no questions, we can move straight on to the next one.